Good morning. Welcome back to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. All right. When we're talking before the break about some things that happened in the 70s and 80s, different legislation that was passed, what impact that has on how we plan today and how that's changed. So we can't do it the way our parents and grandparents did, right? We've got to have a new approach, and that's about how to invest for success, how to save, how to make sure we're going to have enough money, and how to make sure that we never run out of money no matter how long we live. So this next slide is on the Center for Research and Securities Prices. So CRSP as we refer to it. So this stock database spans 90 years of data across 15 business cycles. So this is a tremendous tool for helping in terms of some of the research that we do in securities analysis and in developing portfolios and portfolio design for our clients to help them basically get the most out of their money with the minimum amount of risk. Now, one of the things that you'll find is that the CRSP database has 59,868 total mutual funds in it. Now, here's the interesting part about that. Only 33,111 of them are active. Okay, what that means is 27,184 are inactive or have been closed. Why is that? Why have we lost so many funds? Because they didn't work. This goes back to active management, okay? They come up, just as I mentioned with John Bogle, when he talked about, with Vanguard initially, it was all about index funds, the S&P 500 index, a Dow Jones Industrial Average Index, Barclays Aggregate Bond Index. I mean, these are some examples of indices that are used. It's passive investing. In other words, if you look at active management, that's where we're going to go out and we're going to say, I'm going to set up this large cap fund, okay, the large companies, and you look in your large company fund and it's got maybe 80 stocks or 100 stocks or 50 stocks or 250 stocks. But how many stocks are there in the S&P 500 index? 500, okay? So why don't we just get them all? And the answer is that in active management, the premise is that they're going to be able to outperform that index, that S&P 500 index performance of the 500, of all 500, that they're going to look in those 500 companies, they're going to pick out the ones that are going to outperform the others and thereby give you a bigger return. And are they able to do this? The research shows absolutely not, and that's where you see so many closed funds. That's one of the reasons, because these were funds that failed. They didn't do well. So what is the best way when it comes to indices? And this goes back, our earlier caller, Taylor. Taylor, I hope you're still watching. Here's one of the things that I will make available to you in answer to what you asked earlier about, some good tracking things. If you come into the office, for the first 10 callers, I'm going to make this available again. For the first 10 callers to my office at 615-376-5325, what I'm going to do is a retirement income analysis. This basically is a full-blown comprehensive financial plan. It's not just come in for an hour. You'll be able to come in and visit with me. We'll be able, and not just one visit. We can, if it takes 2 visits, 3 visits, whatever it takes to get your plan done, I'm going to do an investment analysis with you as well. All right, so I can help you determine what's in your current portfolio. Now, here's software that I do use, Morningstar Principia Pro. This is basically for advisors directly, and this is an analysis software where I can take a look. And Taylor, if you came in as an example, one of the things I would do for you is I would print out reports that I can provide you that'll help you with your current holdings, dig down deep to show what's in them. So if you got a mutual fund as an example or a portfolio of mutual funds, one of the things we commonly see, and this is a great tool for this, you might have 10 or 12 or 20 different mutual funds. But if they're all large company mutual funds, they all own the same stocks. So maybe they only own 50 or 80 or 100 or 250 or whatever the number might be, but you're going to see so much overlap because they're all the same asset category. All right? And this is very common in portfolios I look at today. And the reason for that, because we went through a very good bull market, okay, from 2009 up through 2014 for the most part. We had, and in 2015 it was up about maybe 1% for the market. But there again, we've had a nice bull run without a bear market since since 08 basically. So One of the things that happens is that money managers, those running those mutual funds, or advisors that are advising people on how to build portfolios, are looking at what's given them the best performance. And of course, over the last since 09, whatever that's been, right? That's 5 years rather, approximately 5 or 6 years. Over that 5 or 6 year period, it's been large caps. All right, large companies that have outperformed other asset categories. So typically that's what you're going to mainly see. Now, if they try to balance your portfolio, maybe you might have some amount of small companies in there. Maybe you'll have some internationals, which have been one of the worst performing asset categories of late. So what's in your portfolio? Do we even know? Now, here's another one. What else do we know that's happened over these same years is that we've had a very low interest rate environment. And what has that done? It's made it very difficult to put money into safe things. And if you're looking at investment grade, short-term fixed investment grade corporate and government bonds, they're not paying a whole lot of money, right? I mean, even 10-year treasuries even are less than 2%. So one of the things that makes it difficult is that to get any kind of earnings on bonds, you have to do one of two things. You either and both of them require that you take on added risk. One of them, you have to loan your money out for a longer period of time, right? So if I loan my money when I invest in a bond, if I loan it for a longer period, then I'm going to get more return than I am on short term. Okay, so short-term fix, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 years, 5 to 7 year, those kind of notes, those kind of bonds that are not going to give you as big of interest, especially if they're investment grade, high. In other words, the companies and government agencies have high credit ratings. They're very low risk. What happens otherwise is you may have bonds in your portfolio, in your mutual funds. This is another one we see money managers doing. I looked at a fund just recently a client brought in. This was Franklin Income Fund. Okay, look and see if you have it in your portfolio. If you'd like to see a Morningstar on that, to see what's in it, because most advisors you may talk to, they're just going to say, well, this has got a good reputation, it's a good name, it's been around a long time, it's got a good, Morningstar rating maybe even. They don't really know what's in it though. They just know the fund on the surface, based on a reputation, based on what's happened in the past, that this is supposed to be a safe fund. Well, let's take a look. So in a Morningstar, when we look at the Morningstar Principia, we see that about 80% of the bonds in that fund are below investment grade. In other words, mostly junk bonds that are in there, low credit ratings on these companies, which means a higher risk of default. So obviously, yes, they do have to pay higher interest because they're a higher credit risk, right? I mean, think about this. It's much the same as we as individuals. What's your credit rating? If you go to borrow money, do you have to pay a higher interest if you have a low credit score versus someone that's got a high credit score? So if your credit score is in the 500s, you're going to have to pay a lot more interest than someone that's credit score is in the mid 700s or higher. Okay, so this is one of the same things that this same rule applies to companies. They have credit ratings. So is it an A-rated company? Does it have A credit, AA, AAA? At least triple B at the very least in that middling range, or is it double B, B, or maybe even no, C or no rating? All right, junk bonds. So we don't want to take that risk, because what happens? Higher risk of default. If our economy goes through a rough period, what's the likelihood that those companies are going to get into trouble? Much greater than a stronger, stable company with a strong credit rating. See how that works? The other thing is interest rates go up, and eventually they're going to normalize, and the Federal Reserve, which is holding interest rates down and has for some time, they're saying, I want to do this, I want to raise rates. In December, they raised them 25 basis points, 0.25%. What happened to the stock market? Over 2 months, it tanked by like 10%. All right, then they started easing up dramatically on their language over that period. Now they're talking again about possibly another 25 basis points or 0.25% rise. They do want to get to normalization. They're talking about maybe this summer for that. How might that affect your portfolio? This might be a really good time to know, and that's what we do when we dig down in these reports. So it's a part of the plan with your investment analysis, all right? So again, first 10 callers, take advantage of it, 615-376-5325. That's the number you call. You talk to Debbie. She'll send you out a packet of things to bring. Okay, she'll also send you a copy of my book, 7 Steps to Financial Freedom and Retirement. We'll do up a comprehensive plan for you. And now we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to delve into this. I want to try to give you some information that's going to be helpful for you today so that you can, again, get them. I want to give you the most I can each and every day on the show, and I'm hoping you're going to enjoy the rest of this information and be able to put it to use. So join me here. We'll be right back on the Retirement Report.